This this is a game where you gotta just agree to zany behavior at the door. If you're not feeling very zany brainy before you walk in, then you might as well turn around. But if you are, down to clown, then you're in for a strangely addictive sports type game that is unlike anything you popped in your GameCube before. And to describe it feels like I'm signing you up for a salvia trip, but let me just... Okay. You know that carnival game where you put a frog on a seesaw and you hit it with a hammer and you get it into the lily pad? That's this game, but it's also golf because the lily pad is far enough away that you have to do it in multiple hits. So golf, frog hammer hitting, and then add a tremendous amount of idiosyncratic stuff in between each shot, and you're left with Ribbit King, the most charming frog-smacking Japanese game this side of the I-95. Ribbit King and Ribbit King Plus, two of my most cherished games in my entire GameCube collection, and that has nothing to do with the resale value on this thing. I simply live to Frolf. What's up? It's Nick Vez, your favorite gaming uncle. And today we're going to talk about one of the strangest games I've ever come across, but it charmed the pants off of me in 2004. In 2004, I was in 4th grade, so charming the pants off of me, maybe not the right choice of words, but either way, let's jump into some Ribbit King. I hope this still happens today. I hope kids can still do this at their local game store, and it's not just an all-online experience. So the year is 2004. I'm in my local GameStop after me and my mom went to ShopRite. She would reward me for being her little grocery store helper with a trip to GameStop from time to time. So we stop at the GameStop on our way home to see if there's anything cool. And there's this game with a colorful cast of characters. It's $20 new. And this is the one time I can remember where my mom was like, hey, this looks cool. I think it probably had a lot to do with the $20 price tag. But either way, this game was picked out by my mom. So shout out to my mom, who I know was watching. I remember I was between Ribbit King or Cubivore, a game I never ended up picking up. But I'm glad I went with my mom's recommendation here. Maybe someday I'll check out Cubivore. I don't know. These two games kind of exist together in my mind because of their obscurity. But when I got home and I popped in Ribbit King, I was blown away by the creativity. Like, truly shocked. And that was me at 8 years old. Like, that's me at the peak of my own creative powers. Every night I had a new idea for a video game. But this had me sitting there like, damn, I've been outclassed by Bandai. And for whatever reason, Ribbit King on the resale market goes for a lot. It's one of the most expensive GameCube games there is to buy. Why? Well, they didn't sell a lot of copies, so not too many were made in the first place, but that doesn't excuse the fact that I see it online for $250 to $300. And my local retro store that gouges me had it listed for $450. You see that? $19.99 new from GameStop. Man, sometimes the resale market is just evil. Well, I would say it's evil all the time, but I will say this. If the resale market of this game is finally getting people to talk about Ribbit King, then the gougers did at least one thing right. Because when this game came out, I would tell people about it, and they would be like, oh yeah, sure, buddy, thinking I was making it up. And then even worse, I would go online, and it had no community. Zero back in 2004. It was brutal for a Frolf fan like myself. But I'd be lying if that wasn't something I loved about it. It felt uniquely my own. Like, when you discover an artist and they can kind of just be yours for a bit before they blow up? Ribbit King was my Cameron Winter before everyone fell in love with the band Geese, who were just on SNL, so now everyone's going to know them and love them. This era of gaming was kind of like that. You could find these games that you would scratch your head and be like, who put money behind this? This really made its way to stores? How? Those games exist today, but they're not backed by major companies anymore. They're backed by people like me and you. You'll see similar games in the indie space now, paving their way themselves, which is awesome that developers are making what they want to see. Especially in genres that have vocal online audiences just waiting for a new game. Like how we all collectively missed 3D platformers there for a while, then A Hat in Time was a big hit and Ukulele came around. And to my point, while researching Ribbit King, I found a developer who wanted to see a sequel and went out there and made it themselves. It's called Koala Kids Golf, and it is straight up a spiritual successor to Ribbit King. If you're a fan of Ribbit King, you should seriously check out Koala Kids Golf. It is right up your alley. Plus, it's available right now on Steam. It improves on a lot of the faults that I have on Ribbit King 2, which is always a huge plus, but we'll discuss those faults later. Seriously, go check out Koala Kids Golf if you're a big fan of Ribbit King, you guys. But back in 2004, companies were just doing anything, hoping to land an audience somewhere, somehow. And games released on the Cube were already off to a bad start, being a solid third place in the console wars between Xbox and PlayStation. Us Nintendo fans always felt like we were playing catch-up. Our games were not violent, they were not first-person shooters, and our graphics were not as good as the other two. But what we lacked in those areas, we balanced with creativity, and we had it in droves. And while Ribbit King was also released on the PlayStation 2, come on, just look at this thing. This is a GameCube exclusive through and through. Unfortunately, no one even tried to market this game, and it sold extremely poorly. But that didn't stop me from playing the crap out of it in 2004. And now, revisiting it 22 years later, it's such a crazy thing to say, man. How am I so old? But does it hold up? Did young Nick exclusively fall in love with the quirkiness and not the substance? Or is there a good game in here after all?
Here we go!
Now on to everybody's favorite part, the part where I play the dang thing. I like how it says, "Did you frolf today?" Do people say that about golf? No, I don't think I've ever heard someone say, "Did you golf today?" It should have been like, "Don't want to leave this one short," or "No birdies, only froggies." I don't know, I'm just spitballing here. I know those aren't fantastic. But let's get right into the title screen and just... Dude. Yeah, I love this music. It's just so fun. Then you go to File Select. We're going to start a new one. I'm going to beat this baby proper, top to bottom. And when you do that, you get right into the story. And right away, you're greeted with a cutscene, and at the bottom here, it says, a Yoshiki Kihara game. That tells you a lot. This is an auteur, one man's vision brought to life. And you don't see that a lot in the commercial gaming world anymore. But I truly believe that is what makes this game so uniquely its own experience. I'm very thankful that Bandai allowed this man to see his fantasy come to life. And boy, what a story we have here. Scooter, our protagonist, is thrown into the world of Frolf. He is the only carpenter on this planet, and they need someone with a strong hammer swing to bring them Super Ribbonite, which is their planet's only supply source for energy. And as luck would have it, a Frolf competition is giving out this MacGuffin to the champ. So young Scooter here has to go out there and compete in this tournament with the best Frolfers across the galaxy, win to obtain the Super Ribbonite, and then come back home and use it for the planet's source of energy until they need more Ribbonite, I guess. So basically the fate of the world relies on him and Pickwick, his trusted caddy, to be the best at this intergalactic frog-hitting game. What could go wrong, right? I love how the king is also just a bubbling buffoon. Just reminds me a lot of the King of Town from Homestar Runner.
Oh, it's over, we're doomed. How many WPMs can you get up to? That's words per minute, you know. You're about to get 175 fists per stomach.
Do you guys even like Homestar Runner? Do you know what that is? I reference it all the time on this channel. I just can't help it. It's intertwined in my DNA. And I get it. I know that I'm old, but still. So you and Pickwick get sent out. Go save our planet, or we'll have to be refugees on another world, I guess. Just off the bat, that's the perfect amount of stupidity for me in a catalyst. I'm just ready to go out there. Hey kid, we need you to be the best at this sport in the galaxy. It hits me right where it needs to get excited to play. And then you're thrown into the gameplay where Pickwick and Scooter together play around a Frolf. And you have the option for a tutorial, but I skipped that, being a Frolf master and all. I mean, I beat the game when I was 8 years old. I'll explain it to you guys, though, here real quick so we can kind of get started on the campaign. You watch Pickwick go first, which is beneficial to see how the point system works. He hits it just on the ground, and it remains at 0, but afterwards, his frog is close enough to a fly that it jumps up and eats it, gaining him some extra points. So you take that information and you use it in your next shot. The hitting mechanic is very much like Mario Golf or any other golf video game you've played. You hit A for the bar to start, and then you hit A again at the very end to get the max effort from your character to hit the frog as far as you can where you designated it to go. Then you just treat it like golf. You know, I check out the hole. How can I get close to this while also gaining a bunch of points? I see a balloon that says plus 100, so I take that right away. And then gradually, you know, you start to catch on. You see the bubble will give you points, a fly will give you points, the spider webs you can jump off of and use as sort of like a bungee jump pad. Basically, everything on the field that is out there will help you get points. But this is the exciting part. Linking these events and creating a chain reaction will generate you the most points possible. If you jump on the web, then swim, that swimming is doubled. Then after swimming, you eat a fly, that is now quadruple the amount of points that fly would be normal. Then, if a snake comes up and eats you after all of that, and you shake free successfully, it's octuple the amount it normally would, and it caps after that. But it's about linking those chain of events together and generating the most points possible in one round and lining up your shot to be like, okay, well, if I end up landing here, it's close to a fly, and then that fly might make me close to a snake, and that snake might make me close to a web, and so on and so forth. And of course, hitting the frog in the hole, also super important, because every time you get that frog in ahead of your opponent, it knocks their frog in score down 100 points. The first one to get it in gets 1,000 points just for being first. So a lot of what you're doing is finding the balance of gaining points on the field while also getting the frog in fast. Sometimes it's more beneficial to go after what's on the field than to just get your frog in fast. Because like I said, you can, generate over 1,000 points by using what's on the course if you line up all of the chain links correctly together. That is where skill comes into play, and you have to figure out how I want to hit my shots efficiently. Do I want to get it in the hole immediately just so I can start knocking them 100 points before they get it in the hole? Or do I want to play the field and generate a lot of points just from what's available to me here? But after you input your swing, the rest of the experience is basically played out for you, with some exceptions. Every now and then you'll run into a snake or a character on the course that will have you shaking the C-stick or hitting A at the appropriate time, neither of which are that hard, but it does force you to stay on your toes and be ready for those while watching your frog go. But as you can see, there is a stagnant nature to this game where you do more watching than actually playing or inputting. The reviews online in 2004, that's what turned most people off. But let's not get into that now. We'll discuss that as we get more into the playthrough. After you finish the hole with Pickwick, you're met with Sluggy, the ref of the Frolf games, who, believe it or not, has a family.
The winner is this player.
Hooray!
Scooter and Pickwick are just not feeling his vibe at all. They're calling him shady, which, that's... They're calling him shady. Like, that's just funny. It's just a funny thing to hear in this E for Everyone game. And that's just a taste of what to expect. There's so much charisma in these little dudes that each cutscene you watch genuinely feels like a reward. You're going to get something out of each of them beyond the natural progression of the story, and they do a fantastic job making you care about these characters pretty much right away.
Let's go kick off the Frolf Tournament Tour!
A referee? Are they always that creepy?
I don't really trust him. He's shady.
Yoo-hoo! All aboard the FUV! Hurry up, let's go!
Should we go?
Forget it. Come on. He's a weirdo.
At least I'm not a picnic basket.
Huh?
After the tutorial, we venture into our spaceship, where you get an idea of how this all operates. You can open Pickwick's menu, which as of now is empty. You can check out your collectibles, bottle caps, which are also empty. And then you can see where you play next and which opponent you have to beat. And first up, on Ribbitopia, you battle the fierce Kung Fu Panda, Pan Pan, who, believe it or not, predates the movie by 5 years. And before the match, you are greeted with another cutscene where Pan Pan originally tries to kick your ass, but then you remind him what you're here for, the Frolf.
We're playing Frolf, aren't we?
Oh, that's right.
Hey, wait up!
As we get started, I check out the lay of the land and actually hit a really rookie mistake here, missing my intended shot. But my second shot goes to show just how you need to be ready for anything to happen with the C6 shaking and my timed A-press here. As I continue into my match with Pan Pan, my first true match in this playthrough, I just gotta lay out my frustrations with this game. It's time, because you can see the whimsy all the way through. It's apparent how impish and whimsical this game is, but it's not technically sound. It leaves you desiring more of a true golf shot as opposed to the simple hit A and then hit A again here. It's just made too simple for there to be real proficiency in your skill. Which is all to say, why is it like this when you were so close to making it great? You know how in Mario Golf Toadstool Tour, or even Mario Golf on the N64, the original version, you have to hit A and then A again once the bar comes back? This makes your chances of a good shot much harder by adding that simple third A press. You're now deliberately impacted by the bar in more ways than one. You need to make sure that you hit A to get the bar going, and then once it stops at the end, and then when it comes all the way back, you have to hit it again. And correctly timing the second and the third A press is super important, because otherwise it messes up your shot, doubling your margin of error. If you just have to hit it once, it's so much easier. And just a sidebar for 1 second, this is what makes the new Mario Golf on the Switch so frustrating. Mario Golf on the GameCube allows you to add backspin, double backspin, all with that third A press at the very end when the bar comes back. And that really separates this from being easy to a skill-based game. Even if it seems like it's not that hard, believe me, it is. That third A press combined with that second one is what separates it here. And in the new Mario Golf and Ribbit King, you just have to hit it once to start and once when you hit it at the top, and that's the whole shot. And you're really losing out on a lot of potential skill that could go into this game. When you take the steps to make a golf game and then you remove an aspect that makes it more difficult that you've seen in other golf games, it's hard to sit here and be like, oh, well, you know, this is properly made, this is very sound. It just feels cheap, and that's how I feel when I'm playing Ribbit King or Mario Golf on the Switch. And what's particularly frustrating about this is when I do some digging, there was actually a Ribbit King game before Ribbit King called Kiro King for PlayStation 1. And guess what? In that version, you do have to hit the action button twice, like in Mario Golf. What is the deal? You have two sequels that remove a key balancing item to the most impactful skill portion of your gameplay. It just doesn't make any sense why you would remove it. Is it fair to write this game off purely because of that reason? No, I don't believe so. But am I constantly annoyed that the new Mario Golf and Ribbit King both decided to dumb down their skill levels? Yes, of course I am. And I think both warrant mass criticism for doing so, especially when you prove that you can do it in the game prior, and do it well in a game that you developed before. I'm like, you know, am I taking out my Mario Golf frustrations on Ribbit King right now? Maybe I am. I mean, that's a series that deserves a lot more time put into it than this one-off Ribbit King game for the GameCube, but still, it's just ridiculous. You're dumbing down your game. So after all that, after 4 holes, I easily secured the dub, proving that swimming is one of the most clutch shots you can do, setting up for your frog, as every stroke you gain points, and then you start the ricochet chain effect quite nicely. And after 4 holes, I'm up 1.4 thousand points on this little guy. So yeah, I think I got it in the bag, and we move on. Let's just take a little sluggy break, because I think we all need it right now.
For this many points. And the bonus goes to
you!
this player.
Hooray!
After you battle a character, they always offer an item that you can buy from them, and in this playthrough I just decided to buy everything from everyone for the love of the game, getting us a nice plethora of items to use in key situations. And with the items, this is where the knowledge of the game can come back into play, and you can use the attributes that these items provide tactically. There's a fly sonar called Flyer, which allows frogs to eat a few flies that are farther away, a super spring, which makes frogs jump higher after landing, and a rocket, which allows frogs to fly further, and a plethora of other items as well. I'm a very big fan of these because it does add complexity to the matches. You can decide to bring up to 5 along with you and use during any shot,
And while these are radical and add a nice variety, most of them are not skill-based, except for the Frocket, which makes your action bar much faster and therefore much harder to hit it correctly. I wish they all had some disadvantages like that when you use them, but most of them it's just the shot is the exact same once you apply the item.
Ah, there.
After Pan, we meet up with Lunk, who's located on planet Lavatron. Lunk is a walking, talking rock volcano. A big fan of this character design. He looks scary, but in the cutscene you can just see he's just a big lug.
Did I scare ya?
Kinda.
Also, I just really love the sound he makes when he goes to hit his frog. I need to use that during my golf swing. Planet Lavatron is the solid second course to play. It's not as colorful and not as much as happening in some of these levels. It's more barren, but that just forces you to think a little more before whacking your frog. I do like how in Battle 4 here, we see Lunk hit his frog into the lava, thinking that it just acts as water. So when you go and do the same thing, you expect your frog to swim in it. Nope, your frog cannot swim in lava. Only certain frogs can. Only way to know that, though, is through trial and error, and I do love that the game makes you try that. I knocked down Lunk, no problem, and it seems like you can remove a man from Frolf, but you can never take away his Ribbit King title, as I am crushing the competition. Lunk offers me well, it's a little rock, but it's actually an egg from his frog, so eventually I will be able to use Lunk's frog during a battle and swim in the lava if I ever play on this planet again. Which is another incredible aspect of this game. After his frog's fully developed, I can use it in a match.
Lava for froggy. Looks like a froggy, yeah, swimmy as hell. Oh, mamacita, now you're playing some Frolf.
Then we move on. We go back to Ribbitopia, actually, to play Pappy, who's my favorite little brat. He's not small, he's size challenged.
Hey, how dare you step on me, you heel!
We use this little 10 times machine on him, and he's now 10 times the size he was when we stepped on him. It's just funny. And then I just wind up and I hit a frog in one like it's nothing. So I just go up 1,500 right away. And after that, yeah, it's like me sitting here waiting for him to get in the hole for his next couple turns. If you're looking for a game that has non-stop action, you've come to the wrong place. This is not it. You have to find enjoyment from watching the computer take its turn. You learn more about the lay of the land from their shots, what to expect when your frog goes in the whirlpool or encounters a woolly mammoth randomly. While watching them can be a slog, it gives you vital information for your playthrough, which is why I think it doesn't bother me as much as it did some of the reviewers back in 2004. And then on the next hole, while I climb to get to the top of this hill, my frog eats a couple flies, and that's great. But this one seems to make my frog confused. It means I wouldn't be able to hit him as far as I normally would, but once again, the game doesn't tell you that. I wish the manual provided more information about what these flies do. I mean, this game really emphasizes trial and error. You just gotta play and figure out what this stuff does on your playthrough. And when you're a kid, that's exciting. It's like, oh, this is interesting. There's so many different bits and bobs that make this unique. But when you're playing to complete a game, you would like to know this information going in. And then on the third hole, I get another frog in one. I mean, I am a god. Thank you. And then by the fourth hole, it's already over against Pappy. Sorry, little dude, but I buy his item and we move on. We venture next to Planet Frosticle, where we battle Princess Tippy. And Princess Tippy is one of my favorite characters in this whole game, besides maybe Scooter and Sluggy. I just feel like princesses in video games are usually all the same. It's a very monochromatic archetype, and they found a way to make her more unique than any video game princess I've ever seen. I just want you to watch this clip.
I could use a power nap.
Huh?
Okay, here I go. I'm ready now.
She's overworked and exhausted always. What? That's never someone's character trait. It's just really funny to see them do a unique spin on a video game princess. Planet Frosticle has a lot of fun with the snow motif as well. The webs we usually bounce off of are woolly mammoth hides, and you can slip and slide on the ice here, and if you can get it in the middle, you get 100 points. It's kind of like a skee ball type mechanic. Something fun that they do in this course is they'll hide flies in places you can't see, so your frog might eat one and then be forced to jump into this web here. It messes up your positioning, but it also generates you a lot of points. Tippy actually makes it close here after the first hole, and I'm only up by 20, so it's the first time where it's getting a little dicey. You know, the CPU is ramping up their difficulty, finally.
Ribbit King is at its best when the levels are like carnivals. Everywhere you turn, there's something you can try and send your frog off into and just go right into whimsy. And I think on the Frosticle planet, it's the best example of that, because everywhere you turn, it's just bananas, manic energy.
Like, for example, there's a full slide my frog goes down here. There's plenty of ice for the frogs to try to hit 100 with their skee ball type perfect placement. Plus, the balloons and bubbles are everywhere to pop. No two shots can be the same, but wherever your frog goes, you'll have fun watching him hop around. Tippy just straight collapses here, so now I have a super commanding lead heading into the back nine. I take her down no problem, purchasing her item from her, as of course is tradition. Then afterwards, I head around the ship. I stop at Gumbagoo. He's a slot machine of sorts. Actually, now that I'm really looking at him, he's a gotcha machine. I go into Pickwick's menu, I add some items that I'll be able to use in my next match, which happens to be on Planet Technotron. They really got creative with these names, huh? And it's up against Sir Waddle-Lot. Sir Waddle-Lot is this little penguin robot duck with a tiny ghost alien controlling him. Standard character that we all see all the time in video games. One thing I do like is how Waddle-Lot uses a wrench as his hammer just to kind of hit you over the head with the robot mechanic that he has. Out of all the planets though, this is easily my least favorite. The holes feel very disjointed, and the theme of technology is just not as fun as the other outside playgrounds that we have here. Hole 2 here is really just a bunch of conveyor belts, which, just where's the fun in that? Plus, in this iteration of the course, Hole 1 and Hole 4 are basically the same, and it just feels a little lazy. But I beat Waddle-Lot, I buy his frog egg, and we move on to the next opponent, and it's Pan again? Yeah, the game cycles through the same couple characters, but when you see them a second time, they've gone through a costume change, and plus they're harder to take down. And this is the first time on Hypnotron. The description says, "A galaxy of stars, you may encounter something amazing here." And it's just how is this its own galaxy? It's clearly just another planet. I don't know, it seems like a translation error if you ask me. But this map is the hardest of all of them in the entire game, and for that reason alone, I do very much enjoy it. This game really takes a while to give you a challenge. Well, let's just say it's taking me a while for it to get challenging as somebody who grew up playing it. But still, I think they really dumbed down the CPU to start so the player knows what to look out for when hitting a shot to max out the points possible on the board. But when you start encountering everyone a second time, the game does ramp up the difficulty of your opponent, and they choose to do that here on this planet, or galaxy of its own, Hypnotron, which is a good call, because while it's your first time on this planet, you can tell early on you will need to use all previous knowledge you learned to take down Pan. Look at this here. For the first time in my playthrough, I'm trailing after a hole. That's what we love to see. Make it harder. It's more fun that way. One thing that makes this stage so hard is, depending on what hole you're on, the frogs will bounce with a little less gravity. No warning, but it just happens here on this second hole, and clearly it throws me off. I overcome it, yeah, but you kind of just need to be pre-ready for anything to happen to your frog before the shot, and then just sit back and watch if it doesn't go as planned, and be like, okay, how do we recruit? How do we figure out what's next here?
What I realized on this playthrough is you're almost like a football coach. You're watching the players play, your frog being the players, and, you can sit back and you can call plays and send them in, but most of what I do is hope that the players execute correctly. And when they don't, it's up to me to kind of get them out of this jam.
And check it out, I'm still trailing after the second hole. But then the third hole comes around, and I've since taken a little commanding lead. But this final hole on this level, it's just a mess. I hate it. It's my least favorite hole in the whole game, and it shows its ugly face quite a bit. It's very untraditional to every other hole. The only way to get points is by landing on the platforms, where the closer you are to the center, the more points you get. But you also have to deal with the less gravity than you normally would, so your frog just leaps super far after any shot. And yes, a rock item would help, but I didn't have one to use here, okay? Plus, the hole itself where you have to hit the frog into is high up, and the only way to gain vertical advantage is to use this weird little platform that I luckily remembered from my last playthrough about, 20 years ago. But because the gravity is so bad, I miss it, and I lose 100 points because I fall into the abyss. And the only way I would know how to use that is from playing before, or by waiting for Pan Pan to hit it there, which he does after my shot. So then, I figure it out, and from there, I can get a frog in only one move behind his, securing the victory, or so I thought. The bonus for this time is for plus 200 points, which, if given to Pan Pan, would give him the lead. So this is something I didn't mention earlier. They give out a bonus at the end of each match. I've been winning by such big margins that these last couple times, the bonuses hasn't even mattered. But, they throw in this Mario Party juju and can actually gift him the victory here if he happens to be the Crash King, meaning his frog crashed into a wall more than mine. And let's see, did he? No, I get the bonus. But he got close there. And I win, I buy his rocket item, and we advance onward. Then we move on to another character who changed up his vibe, Lunk 2, aka Lunk with a palm tree on his head.
Couldn't resist.
This guy, man, I don't know what happened, but I ended up losing to him 3 times in a row. The first time he just dog walks me. Second time I beat him in regulation, but he gets the flippin' bonus at the end. And then the third time, he beats me in regulation, but if I get the bonus I win, and I don't. So then, alright, fourth time comes around, I study the tape, I beat him in regulation, and don't even give him the opportunity of winning in overtime with the bonus. Too many points stacked up by young Scooter there. But yeah, it got a little tight there.
Good!
Then we go right back to the Cosmos to take on Cosmo himself, a really quirky alien. He tries to shoot us with his ray gun, but it doesn't work and shoots himself instead. I feel like all these characters are from a universe where WarioWare and a Wes Anderson movie clashed and became a sports video game. Cosmo takes the lead after one hole, but I make up some ground after 2. And then on the second hole, it looks like I found the predetermined best shot that the game wants you to take, since Cosmo legit copies my swag here bar for bar. And then when it looks like he's gonna beat me pretty easily, like hand over hand, he won't stop missing the final shot. It's like in his code, it can't tell him that he just needs to hit his frog backwards and take a stroke. He just keeps trying to hit it straight on. And he ends up having nothing to show for it on that final hole, not getting his frog in on time. And I take a commanding lead going into the fourth and final hole, where I really just need to not blow it, and I almost blow it. But look, the game kind of gives me an insane gift here, a beneficial glitch, which I would be dumb not to take advantage of. And who doesn't love a nice beneficial glitch? And we win. And even with a loss, Cosmo does his little victory dance, even though he lost with the little, "Who's your daddy? Who's your daddy?" I don't know what he says, but I love it. Next up is Sparky and Whoosh, a 2-man team who provides some interesting discourse to the idea of Frolf.
I'm Whoosh, and he's Sparky. We're the top gamers around here. And we're gonna keep playing this game during our Frolf match. It's our job, got it?
You can play video games and Frolf?
Of course, loser.
Yeah, I'm not sure if this is some sort of meta commentary about how you can play Ribbit King while also doing something else, but it sure feels like it. And I'm not gonna lie to you, studio audience, there was a couple times where when I was playing Ribbit King, I was also folding and doing my laundry during the Frolf matches. I mean, when the game gives you that much downtime in between inputs, you can't really blame me.
I'm not saying we're going to sue. I'm just saying we have a case. Oh, I'm up. Oh, okay. Sorry. Yeah, I'm gonna get my controller. So Sparky and Whoosh, they're pretty good. They bring the thunder in this matchup, as they usually do. I have a slight lead going into the last hole, but nothing that substantial, and they really can't find a way to string many points together on the final hole, so I'm able to take them down no problem, and I buy their frog egg. Sparky and Whoosh are followed by playing Pappy again, except now he has his brothers along for the ride, Pepe and Pepu. Scooter's not too thrilled about that.
3 against 1, no fair.
But since it's Planet Lavatron, I swap out my regular frog with Lunks Frog, who can swim in the lava, giving me a huge advantage on the first hole, which they never really recover from, and we take them down without much worry. Then back around to our favorite princess, who has changed her hair color. The joke in this cutscene is her hat can talk, and he's the real brains behind this operation. Sure, I like the joke about her being overworked way more, if we're going to be real for a second. But we play Tippy again at Planet Tektron, where the first hole is just more conveyor belts, which is not ideal. I start this match with really nothing going my way at all. I just keep missing and having my frog just short of a lot of the obstacles I want him to go in. But Tippy, on the other hand, not even going for the points, just right for the hole, which honestly is probably the best way to play these conveyor belt levels. So she does get a head start on me.
Good.
But even after my frog in score going down to plus 700, I'm still leading after one. And you know what they say about Scooter. Once the guy has a lead, it's hard to take it away.
Oh, yeah!
Our next match is against Waddle-Lot again. This time on Planet Frosticle. And we have to wind him back up. His spring is broken. But Scooter breaks it.
Oh!
What's that? What was that sound?
Well, nothing really.
Pretty funny how they just leave him there. It's not that these scenes are mean-spirited at all, but there are ones that are just kind of rude every now and then, and that makes me laugh. What can I say? And then on my favorite course, we just get set up with an awesome first shot, which lays out exactly what I love about this game. I see a bizarre adventure I can send my frog on and wish him luck. And in this scenario, I have no idea where this whirlpool was ever in play for my shot, but he goes in it and sets me right up for the next shot, which is beautifully right next to the hole. But then the second hole, I just start duncing my shots and not hitting them hard enough. So I forfeit the match and we gotta try again. For those keeping track at home, all 10 of you, this is only the 4th time I've lost in this entire playthrough. So if you're playing along at home and want to see if you can do better than me, good luck. Running it back, I don't even give him a chance. It's all over by hole 1 after I take a 1,000-point lead. I need you to watch my first shot here. It embodies everything that Frolf is about. Did I plan all of that? Hell no. But boy, was it fun to watch all those points add up. And let's just see Waddle-Lot's next shot. Yeah, I mean, it's just hysterical to compare these two. Oh, and I just noticed, he swapped out his wrench for a googly-eyed fish hammer. Alrighty then. By the end, I just take a commanding 2,000-point lead, and we move on to Cosmos. Back to Cosmo, who's dressed up like a Hawaiian guy. He sings us a little song. But Pickwick just still doesn't trust him. And Pickwick just doesn't trust anyone. They're all shady characters to Pickwick.
I don't trust him. Watch your back, Scooter, okay?
Alright, let's just line up my shot here. And that looks good. Bounce it off the web here to get it on the conveyor. Oh. Okay. Don't think that's supposed to happen. Just gonna forfeit this match and start over. This doesn't count as a loss, though. That does not represent me as a Frolfer. We're clear there? Okay, good. Yeah, that would have been lame if it did represent me. It's a glitch, alright? I should have just played it out, just to see what would happen, you know, play the frog as it lies, but either way, I don't think I would have had a problem taking him down since I ended up beating him by 1,000 points. Let's take a break real quick. Let's go back and check out that menu inside Pickwick since we're about like halfway through. Oh yeah, the bottle caps. It feels very Kmart Smash Bros. Melee trophy section here. Looking at all these 3D models on a little stand that I can rotate, they didn't have to include this at all, but it's really rad that they did. They really want you to fall in love with this cast of characters, and as a kid, I can tell you I definitely did. And they showcase how much time and energy they put into them, and it worked for me. I loved all of it. How would I have known that Cosmo was on the prowl looking for a lady friend? I wouldn't have, but with the trophy or bottle cap, now I do. Moving back to Sparky and Whoosh for a second time, and if it feels like I'm rushing through this playthrough, I can say the same thing for the scriptwriters of the game at this point, because they basically use the exact same joke and lines that they use in the cutscene for the first time we battled Sparky and Whoosh. Once again, Whoosh gets in the way of Sparky's super shot and he knocks him out. And that's it. It's the same exact joke. But you can always count on these two for a tight finish. A good round of Frolf. Using his ghost frog to swim in the lava, I see him do that, and I'm like, you know what? I'll do the exact same thing because you gave me an egg of your frog. So thanks for the frog egg, gentlemen. We take them down, and, you know, they try to sell us these tips and tricks to this Game Boy game that they're playing. And yeah, let's buy it. Sure, I said I was buying everything.
I'll take it.
Never mind. I've changed my mind.
Oh. Alright. Guess I didn't want those tips and tricks anyway. Let's see who's left. Oh, look at that. No Frolfers left.
You defeated everyone. That's because I've got you covered.
Oh, boss.
Hey, kid!
Huh?
Hold your horses!
Whoa.
Not bad. I'm impressed that you've gotten this far. But it's not over yet, I'm your final challenger. The Honorable Gumbagoo.
Wait. What did he say his name was? Scooter just looking right at him. Deadpan. Hysterical to me. Couldn't care less that this guy has been in the ship the whole time, basically stalking them.
That I'm the true king of Frolf, the one and only Ribbit King.
He did it. He said the thing. Ribbit King. He said the thing. Look at these two little scamps. Just not listening to his monologue at all. Just worrying about picking up those free items that they took out of his body. You gotta love these guys. We play Gumbagoo here, and after 2 holes, the guy just torches me. There's no way I'm coming back from this. I forfeit, and we start again from the top. But this time, I have that tape. I feel like I have a better lay of the land here. But still, come on, just look at his first shot. He ends up taking a 300-point lead going into the second hole. But because we played him already, and I saw that tape of him playing the second hole, I play it exactly how he played it last time. I do the exact same shot that he had. And it's not a lot of nuance to that, but hey, a win's a win. We go into the third hole, up about 1K on him. Third hole goes according to plan. I absolutely knew Cosmo's ship was going to pick me up and spit me out there. And we have a nice commanding lead on him. But we go into the fourth hole, and my least favorite hole in the entire game. When I was a kid, this is just where I couldn't win. It didn't matter how big of a lead I had. I could never beat him on this hole. And look, even here, I'm struggling big time. And if he gets a plus 200 Mario Party bonus, here, he takes the win. And of course, it's a plus 200 Mario Party bonus. But he didn't get the Crash King one. I got the Crash King. And we did it. We're Frolf champions. Now give us the Super Ribbonite and we'll be on our way. Oh, it's a super small version of it. Our protagonists are super let down.
It's the same size as the picture in this flyer.
Oh, maybe I don't got you covered.
Oh, no. Oh, no. Oh, no. Oh, no.
Until they realize we have the 10 times popper thing that Pappy gave us. Let's use it on the Ribbonite. And voila!
You shouldn't have activated it here.
What? Big mistake.
That's
I'm
Ribbit King for you.
There's no room. I can't breathe.
We see the king welcoming us home, and all is well on our home planet. It's over. Or so we thought. We immediately get summoned back to the king's lair, where the king once again says our planet is doomed. This is where the Oinkatrons come into play. These big bad guys who kind of talk like Muppets.
Don't ignore me, Captain Oinka, King of Planet Oinkatron. Beware! If you fail, this is what's going to happen.
This is going to happen. Why is that the exact same cadence of Sam the Eagle? Oink Guy just full on blasts a section of our planet and everybody panics, rightfully so. And it turns out what Oinkatron wants is not Super Ribbonite, but hints and clues for that game Sparky and Whoosh were playing. Okay, good enough for me to go back out there and start playing Frolf again. Whatever you gotta do to set that up, I'm game. The difficulty is increased a bit, and you get to play characters on different courses than we did before, so that's nice. They didn't have to add a post-game at all, but it's nice to have a finisher to complete the story mode if you have a little left in your tank. And for me, I was looking forward to this big time because I felt like I was dominating everyone in the main story my first go around. So to have a difficulty rising second part of the story, really, I'm a huge fan of that. We play everybody one more time. I'm not going to go into it all again. I mean, you heard me talk about all of these guys already. We don't get cutscenes for them, so it's not as fun. You kind of just go right into the match. But you do get a cutscene after you beat Sparky and Whoosh on Ribbitopia, and they're the final two because they have the hints and clues. Pretty awesome that your final match is played on the first level that you play in the entire game. A real full circle moment. But for whatever reason, every time I booted this battle up, my game crashed. And this had not happened to me at all throughout my entire playthrough, but on the last possible winning match, it just kept crashing. Like, I got a nice 200-point lead on them here after the first hole, and it glitches out. Then, I reboot it, play them again. I need a frog in one on the final hole to win it all, and I get it. Nice, game over. Wrong. Glitch. We glitch again. We get to the end of the cutscene and the game just stops.
What? Are you?
You can't make this up, but at this point, I've had it. The gloves are off. I do the classic, take the game out, put it back in the box, wipe it on my shirt, do whatever I can, pray that it doesn't happen again, basically. So post-cloth shirt, I ended up beating them by 1,000 points. For some reason in my dumb caveman brain, thinking that the win margin mattered in the glitch. Like, I know it doesn't, but it felt like if I beat them by a large gap, then maybe the game would be forced to give me the victory screen and not glitch out. I don't know. I mean, maybe my theory was right because there was no glitching this time. Or maybe my cloth was just exactly what that disc needed. But either way, Sparky and Whoosh actually end up not giving us the hints and clues.
Huh? Hints and clues for that old game? We got bored with it and threw it away.
What? Oh no.
I won Mega Zapper.
For real?
But little prehensive Pickwick, who's been playing the Game Boy thing this whole time, made his own hints and clues. Because he beat the game, thus saving the planet and completing the story of Ribbit King. The post-game feels more like a victory lap than an actual follow-up story, but I think that's okay because the game still leaves you a lot to unlock. You gotta pop in a whole nother disc.
Ribbit, 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 Ribbit King Plus! Yeah!
Look at that red disc down there. Ribbit King Plus! Yeah! As if the game couldn't get any more charming, on a separate disc that comes bundled with Ribbit King, we have Ribbit King Plus. Something that I have never seen before in a video game ever. So Ribbit King Plus basically acts as a mini DVD to watch little shorts with all the characters that you've just been playing against. There's Paramount Plus, Disney Plus, and Ribbit King Plus. And Ribbit King came first. My favorite thing about it, though, is
you have to unlock the clips. The game uses one save file for both games. So once you click your save file, you're brought to a menu where your accomplishments are rewarded with the clips. So now this one here, you need 10 frogs in one. This one you need to unlock 30 bottle caps. And this one says you must unlock all clips. The thing that really bothered me though as a kid was you had to unlock all bottle caps as well as unlocking all other clips to get this, even after beating the game, the post game, and unlocking everything else. And when I was a kid, I would have no problem getting all the bottle caps. It sounds great, gives me more reason to play. But the only problem is the bottle caps don't tell you how to unlock them. So that was that. I ended up not having about 10 bottle caps total that I just didn't know how to unlock. So I never got to watch that video as a kid. Oh, Nick, why don't you just check the internet for the clip? Well, in 2004, the year the game came out, there was nowhere to do that. No one uploaded these clips anywhere in high resolution. That's not how the internet worked back then. Also, there was nowhere to even tell me how to unlock those damn bottle caps, or even if unlocking those bottle caps was the key to get that freaking clip. I just assumed that's what I had to do just based on process of elimination. But I was right about that. But damn, I had no way of knowing what to do to unlock those damn caps. Also, look at this here. When you beat the game, after you beat everyone, they show up here on your save file. And there's clearly a blank space after Gumbagoo. But the only place that had a coverage of this game back then was IGN. And look at this here. It's a screenshot of Oinkatron playing Frolf. So he must be the final character you have to beat to unlock that clip. And I couldn't for the life of me figure out how I was supposed to battle him. I thought my copy of the game was broken. I almost asked my mom to buy me another copy just so I could try and beat that version, and maybe the final battle with Oinkatron will spawn this time. I thought there was something wrong with my specific game. I beat the whole game again on a different save file to see if it would show up, but nothing ever happened. Years later, I found out that the stupid pig is only unlockable in the PS2 version of the game. So I never had a shot to unlock him. It literally wasn't ever in the code. But regardless, I'm still pissed at IGN for leading me astray with that frickin' screenshot. Making me think I can unlock Oinkatron. You can't unlock Oinkatron, Nick. Golly. It was only a couple years ago that I went to see if I could find the final video. And yeah, it's on YouTube now, thank the Lord. And it's cute, they're all eating at a potluck, saying goodbye to each other, and Sluggy comes out of nowhere and everyone runs away. I mean, I wasn't missing much on the clip itself, but knowing that I couldn't see it as a kid, man, that really drove me bananas. I really thought something was wrong with my save file. And shout out to the Ribbit King fans, because the fandom created a Ribbit King wiki that tells you everything you need to know. How to unlock the characters, how to unlock all the bottle caps, what's exclusive to which version, what frog does what all the items do. Man, 8-year-old Nick would have loved this website so much. I would have eaten it up. I would have spent all my time on it. It's here that I learned that 2 Ribbit King shorts from Ribbit King Plus actually never made it out of Japan. Both of them having excessive toilet humor, which, makes sense. But this wiki saved me so much time on this playthrough, so just a giant shout out to everyone who helped put this thing together. Just a huge labor of love, and it did not go unnoticed by me. The clips that didn't make it over, the Japanese exclusive clips, are interesting. Princess Tippy is trying to take a nap, and there's a bug that's annoying her, and her fart ends up killing the bug, which, I'm not gonna lie, as an 8-year-old child, I would have loved that. But the one where the woolly mammoth drops a deuce on the flies as they're having a powwow, yeah, I never needed to see that. Kind of funny though how Scooter and Pickwick are like, bro, we just sat down to eat. Why would you show us that? The clips that did make it over to the US are all delightful. You get to learn
more about the characters and see them all interact with each other. For a kid that loved the Super Mario series that consistently gave you crumbs in the story and character interaction department, this felt like a Thanksgiving dinner. Seeing all these video game characters just exist in their everyday life, hanging out outside of the game, going to the beach, playing in a band. It's literally the kind of things I'd write as fan fiction for the Mario characters to do. And now these little dudes are doing it. You know, while they aren't the Mario cast, they certainly made their way into my heart. And the only problem is, this was the only time we got to see these characters. After this, we never heard from Scooter or any of the Frolfers ever again. The game was a failure, and Ribbit King's story was over before it even started. You know, young Nick may have tried to make some rumors on some forums that there was a Ribbit King 2 in the works. E3 would roll around and I would say that there was buzz for a sequel, but no one ever really cared. Try to bring it up in conversations on these forums, and people acted like they just never even heard of it, probably because they hadn't heard of it. You know, I'm happy that the game gets talked about more now, even if it is because of the insane amount of money it costs on the resale market. It doesn't matter, you know, like, if people are talking about this game, that's a win. If I personally can inspire one person to check this game out due to this video, then I did my job. So in conclusion, you can really get upset that this game doesn't go all out for the gameplay, because it does go all out in the charm. You have the ingredients for a super fun game, but at the goal line, you fumble with the most important factor, which is the gameplay. Like I said earlier, when you're hitting the frog, you really wish that they got that action bar more similar to Mario Golf, Toadstool Tour, a Tiger Woods golf game, just any golf simulator out there. The simple A press once to hit your shot really drags the skill level in the entire game. On top of that, the game should be giving you some more action once the frog is launched. I know they do come up sporadically, like when a frog snake comes along, you have to shake the C-stick, but imagine if you had the option to decide where he hops after the shot would be hit. It'd be such a small tweak, but that added spin would separate it from you watching your frog do all the work to the player being the full driving force of where the frog lands. But all that being said, the game gives you a nice, long, single-player campaign, 4-player multiplayer with an option to turn the wind on. But still, like, where was the wind in the campaign? And then plus, on top of that, the game gives you an extra bonus disc with clips of the characters, all for $20. I mean, it's not $20 anymore, but back then. Of course I'm going to give it a positive rating. The fun and charm outweigh the gameplay woes tenfold. I freaking love this game, and it is one of my favorites in my GameCube collection. Even playing it now in the great year of 2026, I enjoyed the crap out of it. My only problem is, how am I going to find 3 other Frolfers to play multiplayer with? Nintendo, because I know you're listening, please bring this to NSO. Give the people a chance to play Frolf without having to drop $350 on the resale market. The game is better than you think, everybody. And I know Nintendo, they're like already targeting games that go for a bunch of money on the resale market, like Chibi Robo and that Fire Emblem game, Pokemon DX Stadium or whatever it's called. That's coming. I know that's coming for the exact reason that it's so much money on the resale market. So Nintendo, bring back Chibi Robo. This is a beautiful little game that deserves the love and care that it never received. And I think this is our last and final chance for the world to experience Ribbit King and have a good time with it. And that's on NSO. Anyway, everybody, thank you for watching. This is a long video. It took me a really long time to make. Please like and subscribe. Stay here for more Nintendo stuff. We got a Mario 2 movie review inevitably happening. I got a video about Donkey Kong Bonanza where I maybe talk about how I don't think it's a 10 out of 10. It maybe let me down a little bit. You know, stuff's coming out. Stay right here. It's very difficult to continue to make quality YouTube content, but we're going to try to do it, and we're going to try to do it right here on NickFest Gaming. And yeah, let's get out there and go play around the frog. You hit some frogs and try to hit just like you want.
Let's roll!
Hard. Get ready for some fun. You'll feel great when you hit a frog in one. Let's ribbit frolf, ribbit let frolf, hip hop. You're never gonna stop.
It's
Frolf,
Frolf,
hip
hip
hop.
hop. You'll never wanna stop.
Ribbit King Plus.